Here it is at last, the Helios Tarot forecast for the month, or Tarot Horoscope drawn specifically for your astrological zodiac sign. I'm B.R. Newman, in case you didn't know that already. Check out my website, iamhelios.com, through the link below, and consider everything that I have to offer there. Consider signing up to receive any number of the personal readings that I offer, or consider signing up to take a course. The choice is yours. There's a lot to explore there. Also consider checking out Annie Botticelli's Storyteller forecasts to see the astrological side of everything you're going to see here. It's fascinating, I promise. So, okay, I guess we'll just jump right into it. So here it is, Libra, your 5-card tarot spread for the month of October. I'd like to call this a Helios spread. It's a kind of condensed Golden Dawn spread which uses 15 cards, but in this case we have 5 to the same effect. We have a central theme, 2-dimensional timeline options to choose from, a past section, and a fate section. In your central theme, or that which most adequately embodies the whole story arc of this tarot spread, is the Knight of Wands. Now, all of these court cards correspond with all 16 of the Myers-Briggs personality profiles. There are 16 court cards and 16 profiles there, and that's no accident. The connection is quite obvious, though very few people understand this or use this in readings. The Knight of Wands specifically lines up with the ENTJ, or the extroverted intuitive thinking judger. Now, this is a born leader, a natural leader, and a visionary. Somebody who's very argumentative, though, that, insists upon their version of reality being accepted, but that's part of what motivates them and incentivizes them to make lasting change occur. So this is somebody who has a very low tolerance for incompetency, somebody who's very willing to take charge if need be. So for whatever reason, this commanding presence is what is being beckoned out of you. This is what is needed, very likely. This is not likely to be something you're already embodying, though if it is, good for you. Then you sort of are going to be walking on easy street this month. So the two choices that you do have to make, or the one choice considering these two options, may in fact require a kind of assertiveness that you may not be used to. Of course, we have to entertain the possibility that this Knight of Wands may in fact be somebody in your life that's extremely influential or very important through this time, in which case they would be like a guiding force, a mentor, a temporary mentor that's going to enable you to at least be inspired to take action. So in fact, it is you doing it. You are the one creating this opportunity and then taking the opportunity, ideally, though they may be reflecting something back to you that you require. If you are, the personality profile, or if your natural wiring is not very much in line with this Knight of Wands, which may in fact be the case. So, considering the 2-dimensional timeline options, you have, on the one hand, the Star, which is a major arcana card, a high-gravity, heavy-hitting card that has to do with a tremendous amount of faith and trust, and operating based on pure automatic instinct according to just no evidence, no evidence to suggest that you will be successful. However, through the Star, there is a promise of success so long as you stay the course, so long as you keep up with the faith. If you step in and attempt to overanalyze, then you are, by default, stepping down from that, faith being the primary strategizing mechanism. You would be implying by overanalyzing and meticulously attending to all of the little details that faith is not enough. In which case you would automatically adopt the alternative dimensional timeline, which is the 4 of Swords. So we have to consider the surrounding cards, with all of these sword cards especially, but all of these numerical minor arcana are storylines. So obviously the 4 of Swords takes place immediately after the 3 and just before the 5. So the 3 and the 5 indicate times of strife and struggle, whereas the 2s and the 4s have to do with temporary periods of recovery and rest, but with insurance that you will return to battle. That's sort of the idea of the Swords suit. So you do have the 2 of Swords in your fate section. So considering that fact, I would definitely advise that you take advantage of this Star opportunity and just make faith your primary means of operating, your primary means of manifesting and interacting with the opportunities that present themselves. And so, considering the energy of the Knight of Wands, you have to be an authority. Perhaps you will have to be extremely assertive and commanding in the face of your own resistance. You will have to force yourself to trust, to have faith, to not overthink this. If you overthink, you are, by default, activating the Swords suit. That's what the Swords suit is all about. So since you have that in your fate, you may as well mix things up a bit and try something a little different, in which case you may not need to then return to battle after the 2. By engaging the 4, by choosing the 4, you would place a pretty heavy emphasis on the suggestion that you would return to battle after the temporary rest and recovery period of the 4 and the 2. So, faith is crucial here.
The Knight of Wands in your central theme, of course, may have been essentially battle-hardened through his experience with this sword's suit thus far. But now the Knight of Wands is meant to assert himself against any of the temptation to stay in the unproductive battle, in the needless drama. So, through faith and trust in your ability to transcend this, you can and will. And this was all inspired by the card in your past section, which is the Chariot. So there you have the prerequisite to the best case scenario here. The Chariot represents a point in time that you have decided to make a lasting change, to triumph over the situations and the patterns that no longer serve you. So this often happens through an abrupt departure from traditional ideas, which may mean that you receive some backlash. There was some, you could consider this like swimming against the current when everyone's screaming at you to turn around and go with the crowd. But you made a decision to make a change and do something different. Now, a valid manifestation of this resistance, of this crowd of resisting people, may in fact be the inner voices that hold you in patterns that don't serve you, in which case the Knight of Wands is surfacing now as an opportunity for you to set a healthy boundary against those inner voices and make lasting change despite the overwhelming sensation, maybe the resistance, the tension and the rigidity that would otherwise be preventing you from doing so and would be enabling you to just step back into old patterns that don't serve you and thus step back into the battle represented by the sword's suit. The positive side of the swords is manifesting. Obviously, we have to acknowledge that you're not having the 3s or the 5s, you have the 4s and the 2s. So you do get to a point where there is rest and recovery, and so the choice is really up to you whether or not that means you then return to battle or not. If you continue the patterns and themes of the sword's suit, and overthink, overanalyze, overcommunicate, try to control and sedate reality and force things to happen, then the amazing opportunity that is the Star card would just pass you by, in which case you might require another cycle of potentials before you can transcend this, and that really may in fact just be needless. You don't need to carry on with this anymore. Through the Chariot in your past, you've made the decision to change. You've, with that willingness, have signed up for the amazing transfiguration that is set to occur.
And that about wraps this up for the month. So thank you for listening to this and for watching. Please do consider contacting me for a personal reading. We can take this so far and go so much deeper than we have here. It's pretty remarkable, really. You can gain so much, as many people have already. IamHelios.com is the website. I'm B.R. Newman. Thanks again.